Dun, 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 dun. I am Jones, Caleb Jones, and this is Unchained CEO, having your own location independent business. So you are mobile and free from your horrible 9-to-5 corporate job and or your current collapsing quasi-authoritarian, quasi-socialist Western country like the United States, Canada, Europe, Australia. And if you want, and you should, setting up an international backup plan. So you have somewhere to go when your country collapses, which will happen in your lifetime. Or moving out of your collapsing Western country like I did. So in a few minutes, I'm going to bring on my son, Josh. I've had him on once before, and this time we're going to talk more about he lives this lifestyle, 5 flags, location independent, Alpha Tupano. He does all that stuff, and the success he's had as a self-made guy in his early 30s. Another young success story. And he actually moved out of the collapsing United States before I did. He actually moved a few years before I did. So he has actually a little more experience, especially in terms of places like Mexico and Thailand. He'll be on in a little bit. Before that, 2 things. 1, tomorrow morning I get on a plane. I'm in Dubai right now. I get on a plane and I'm going to leave Dubai for 4 months. Why? Because that's my lifestyle. The one negative, in my view, of Dubai is that June, July, August, and a little bit September, it's too hot. It's really hot right now. It is now officially June, and it's like a switch that flips. At the end of last week in May, suddenly you're like, whoa, it's hot. It's about 105 degrees out. So I'm leaving, and I'm going to the UK. I'll be in London for about 2 weeks. If you are in the London area and you want to hang out with me and us on this weekend, calebjones.com/events, doing a London seminar there, very inexpensive. We've had such a big demand for that seminar. We had to change rooms in the location in the venue to get a bigger room. So awesome. So if you want to hang out with me this Saturday, you have until this Saturday. You can sign up, calebjones.com/events, scroll down to London. And then I'll be in Scotland. I'll be in Scotland for about 4 days. I'll be in Glasgow. I'll be in Glasgow for about 4 days. And then I head over to the United States. I'll be there for about 3 weeks, Scottsdale, Arizona, and Portland. And then I will be down in Paraguay for about 3 months. And then I'll be back in Dubai in late September, early October. So that is a 4-month, I'm holding up 5 fingers. Why am I doing this? 4-month trip. Let me show you the number of bags I have packed for that trip. Just 1. I've talked about this. I only travel with 1 bag. I don't check bags. That's stupid. I travel with 1 bag. I'm going to show you this bag right now. So if you're listening to the podcast, I will describe it. Here is the bag. The 1 bag I've packed for a 4-month trip. Here it is. This is it. You can see the camera back up a little bit. 1 backpack. This is called the Tortuga backpack. This is the smaller of the 2 options they have. This is the 35 liter. This bag is it. This is it. And this comes on me at the plane. I don't check a bag. So I breeze in and out of the airport. 4 months, 1 bag. That's it. Now, normally I have this 1 bag for most of my trips. So I do like 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks. Now, because this is a 4-month trip, I have added 1 additional bag. This one. Little laptop bag. That's it. These 2 bags, and these are both coming on the plane with me. I don't check a bag. 4 months. That's it. 4 months. 4 months. It took me a grand total of about, well, let me put it in context. When people go on a 1-week trip, 2-week trip, okay, how long does it take to pack for a 1 or 2 week trip for most normal humans? Be honest. It takes several days. It's like a project. Oh, this shirt and that shirt, I got packed this. Oh, what about this? And I got to run to Walgreens and buy this. And okay, it takes several days to pack for a 1-week trip. I just packed for a 4-month trip. You know how long it took me? I timed it. 3 hours and 26 minutes. Boom. Done. Packed. Done. Most guys are, spending days and days doing this shit. 1 bag, less than 4 hours. Boom. Done. Okay? So, if you want to know how I do this, you can buy my course, Travel Ace. So you can go to, what's the easiest place to go there? Go to calebjones.com and click store. And on the store, you'll see a course called Travel Ace. And I show you exactly how I do this. I show a live demonstration of me packing for like a 6-week trip to Paraguay for 1 bag, this bag right here. Okay. Let's see. What else I want to say about this? If you have the big bundle that I sold a few weeks ago, you already have that in your repertoire, Travel Ace. If you have the business and 5 flags version. That's it, man. Easy peasy. I've already checked in for my flight. I'm just going to walk into one of the best airports in the world here in Dubai. and head off to London, England. London, my father. I've been there a long time. I'm very excited. London's collapsing. You guys are fucked if you live there, but I like visiting there. I like visiting collapsing countries. That's what you should use collapsing countries for. Visit them, but don't live there. Why would you live there? What the fuck? And I'm going to yell at them in London too. I'll be yelling at them. You guys, why are you still here? What the fuck? Get the fuck out of here. All right. That's the first thing. Excuse me. That's a pretty small bag. Damn. That's correct. Yeah. I'll get to your questions in a second. Next quick topic. And I'm just going to buzz through this quickly because I don't want to yell at you too much. I've been yelling at you a lot lately. I'm trying to yell at you guys less, but I got to yell at you guys a little bit. This thing with Trump and how he's been found guilty on 34 counts of fraud. Okay. Oh, how do I say this? Because you guys did the same thing with when Andrew Tate went to prison. Some people who hate Trump will say, "Oh my God, he's a fraud. See now it's a matter of record. 34 counts. He fucking did it. What a fucking criminal. What a fuck." And what you guys do is you walk in and you say, "But he didn't do it," and that's all you've got. You just walk in and say, "But he didn't do it." And by the way, you Andrew Tate worshippers did the exact same thing when Andrew Tate went to prison. The only thing you had was, "But he didn't do it," as if that's an argument that helps anything, that solves any problems, and that even is relevant. It's not relevant whether or not he did it. Trump, Andrew Tate, anyone else you worship who's gotten in trouble, it is not relevant whether or not they did it. By the way, for the record, I think Trump did do it. And for the record, I don't think Andrew Tate did it. But it doesn't matter. It is not relevant if he did it or not. He fucked up. Let me tell you why. When you have an audience, I just did a podcast a week or two ago on how to manage an audience. When you have an audience and you are a contentious figure, there are three groups of people. There are people who love you no matter what you do. They will love you no matter what you do. The next group are people who hate you no matter what you do. They hate you. They hate you. They hate you. There's no convincing them. They'll hate you no matter what. And in the middle, the largest three groups are people who don't know about you, don't have any detail, and don't really have any data. They don't have an opinion because they don't have any, they're ignorant. Okay? So I'll use Andrew Tate as an example. Andrew Tate goes to prison, right? And so you have an Andrew Tate hater who's sitting in a room talking to an ignorant normal person. And the ignorant normal person who doesn't have all this information and data has no idea, right, about Andrew Tate's details. And he says, the other day I was on the internet and I saw this Andrew Tate video and he made some good points. Now, the hater will say, he's in prison for rape. And the ignorant guy goes, really? He is? Yeah, look it up. Look it up. He's in prison for rape and sex trafficking and sexual assault. And the dumb, ignorant guy who has no strong opinion goes, oh, okay. So he pulls up his phone, and what does he find? The narrative matches what the hater says. Oh, wow. It says he's in jail for sexual assault and trafficking women. And oh, my God. Damage is done. Let's say you walk in, you're a Andrew Tate worshiper, and you say, but he didn't do it. Doesn't matter. Damage is done. When you have an audience, the only way to grow the audience is to grow the middle group of people, those people who don't know much about you and who are ignorant. Because the argument was, well, Andrew, and the argument with Trump, well, Trump it'll make him a martyr. Now that he's found guilty, it'll rile the base. And people said that about Andrew Tate when he went to jail. Well, now the people you will really defend him. Okay, here's the problem. When the people who love you no matter what love you more, does that move the needle in terms of your messaging? No. I have people on the internet who love me. If the people who love me suddenly love me more, but nothing else changes, does that affect me at all? Do I make more money? No. Do I get more customers and more reach? Not really. So it doesn't matter. So if Andrew Tate goes to jail, the people who already hate him now hate him more. The people who love him more. The people in the middle, all they know is, wow, this guy went to jail for like sex trafficking. They don't know the details, and they're not going to ever know the details. They're not going to research it. They don't care. So the people who hate him now say he's in jail for blah, 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 which is bad for Andrew Tate. So Trump, you guys who worship Trump and think Trump's going to fix everything. Same exact scenario. You got people who hate Trump no matter what. You have people who love Trump no matter what. Some of you, unfortunately, are in that category. And you have people in the middle who haven't made up their mind and don't know the details. So the person who's ignorant doesn't really know, says, Trump, I heard Trump, he had a good point about, and the Trump hater says, he was just found guilty for 34 counts of fraud. 34 counts, guilty on all 34. He did? Yeah, look it up. And so he looks it up, and sure enough, it's right there on his phone at CNN.com. Oh, shit. And you come in and go, but he didn't do it. Doesn't matter. Damage is done. Trump fucked up. Andrew Tate fucked up. Doesn't matter. Now, if I say I think Trump did it, I think he did, the next excuse you'll have is, well, Biden did it too. It's politically motivated. It's a witch hunt. All right, same thing. Someone who doesn't know much about Trump, talk to a Trump hater. Trump hater says he was just found guilty, 34 counts of fraud. 34 counts. A jury, an independent jury of independent people found him guilty for 34 counts of fraud. You're going to vote for that guy? He's a fucking criminal. And the ignorant guy goes, really? Let me look it up. Oh my God, you're right. And you come in and said, but Biden did it too. Or you say, but it's politically motivated. The ignorant dumb guy doesn't even know what politically motivated means. You know what it means because you follow this bullshit. They don't know, and the damage is done. This stuff does not help your heroes when they fuck up like this. And it doesn't matter if they didn't do it. They fucked up, and it hurt them. And again, just because the people who already love them at 30% more doesn't help their message. Does Andrew Tate get a whole bunch of new Andrew Tate supporters when he went to jail? No, he didn't. Is Donald Trump now going to get more votes from people who wouldn't have voted for him because he's found guilty on 34 things you think he didn't do? No, he'll probably get less. The people who love him will vote for him. The people who hate him will still not vote for him. The people in the middle are not going to go, wow, I like him now. He's been found guilty at 34. That's awesome. No. It doesn't matter if your hero didn't do it. And it doesn't matter if they did it, but their rival also did it. Let me address that really fast. There's an old joke. In the United States, you who still live in America, I feel sorry for you. It is part of your culture to get pulled over by police officers all the goddamn time. I live here in Dubai. It has literally never happened to me in almost 4 years. Okay, it doesn't happen here because I don't live in a fucking police state like you guys in the United States. So you get pulled over by cops all the time. There's an old joke. The guy gets pulled over by a cop for speeding. Cop comes over and the guy says, hey man, everyone else was speeding. I mean, yeah, I was speeding, but everyone else was going the same. Why'd you pull me over? The cop says, you ever been fishing? And the guy goes, yeah, but what does that have to do with anything? The cop says, when you went fishing, did you ever catch all the fish? That's the joke. Doesn't fucking matter. You tell the cop, well, he was speeding too. Doesn't fucking matter. You're going to get a ticket. Sorry, it's the way it goes. Life is not fair. Especially when the elites run everything. So if you say, well, Biden did it too, does that help a ignorant person who hasn't made up his mind about Trump suddenly like Trump? No, it doesn't. It doesn't matter. I agree with you. It should matter. By the way, objective reality now, unlike a lot of you, I'm objective and rational. I don't pick a side because both sides are wrong. Biden should be in prison right now for the text evidence of the money laundering for Ukraine. He should be in prison right now. And, sorry guys, Trump should be in prison right now. Not for this Stormy Daniels crap. He should be in prison for obstruction of justice when he ordered Comey to not investigate him. He said it on video. That's a felony. You can't do that. He should be in prison now. And for violation of the emoluments clause, he took something like $72 million of income from foreign powers as president. You can't fucking do that. That's treason. He should be in prison right now. And Obama should be in prison right now for spying on your texts and your emails. He should be in prison right now. George W. Bush should be in prison right now for spying on for wiretapping your phones without a warrant. He should be in prison right now. Bill Clinton should be in prison right now for leaking nuclear technology to the Chinese via the Lippo group. All these last 5-6 presidents should all be in fucking prison. So if you're like, well, he did it too, I don't think you want that because then all your heroes go to prison. All your enemies and all your heroes, they should all be in fucking jail. because you people keep voting for the lesser of two evils, as I've been talking about. So just remember, if the only response you've got whenever someone brings up Andrew Tate going to prison, which, by the way, I predicted, and it happened, and I predict it'll happen again. He will go back to prison. Watch. Not tomorrow, but he will go because he hasn't learned a goddamn thing. And Trump getting in trouble, and all you got is, well, he didn't do it. Doesn't help a goddamn thing. That's not an argument in this case. It doesn't matter. Sorry. Wish it did, but it doesn't. Okay. I know that's not what we wanted to hear, but again, I'm objective. I'm rational about these things. It doesn't matter if he didn't do it. It doesn't matter. I agree it should matter. Let's do some questions here. How are we doing on time? Yeah, perfect. I'll do some questions. I'll bring on Josh. How firm of a mattress do you like? I like a very firm mattress with a pillow top on the top, at least 2 inches. So that it's nice and soft on top and it's firm below that. That's what I like the best. Have you tried sleeping on the floor? I have no interest in sleeping on the floor. I know that's a very manly, cool thing to do. I know the snake diet guy does that. Great. Cool for him. I have no interest. No. What do you think about taking out debt to buy assets that appreciate faster than the interest, like real estate and Bitcoin? In other words, using leverage. I think that's a terrible idea. That's a very high risk move, and I wouldn't recommend it. Is blogging still worth it? Yes. Look up Justin Welsh. He makes over $1 million a year doing nothing but blogging. Yes. It just works differently now than it did back in 2011. You can't just write a blog post and hope people go there. Works a little differently now. The answer is yes, you can. I started reblogging again. Why do you think I did that? I'm about to get my Dominican citizenship through my mother. Cool. If I do everything you say about your international backup plan, will the country be a good option? I like the place. It's not Five Flags compatible if you live there full time and you have a passport there. Could you still do it? Absolutely. You can do it. You don't need to follow the Five Flags rules if you don't want to. I do, but I walk my talk. I'm an extremist. So if you like it, sure. What's the average time to get a passport in Armenia? 3 years. I'm going to apply for it in November of this year. And is it an X amount of months required to be there to obtain citizenship? No. That's one of the citizenships we offer. We offer Armenia, Mexico, Paraguay, and Dubai. You don't need to be there more than 2 weeks to get your citizenship, and they give it to you. Armenia is one of the fastest residency, not citizenship, residency. One of the fastest residencies you could get. You'll have your residency card within like 25 days. You're there for about a week, just about a week, a little more than a week, and you'll have your residency card in the mail within 25 days. What is your ethnic background? English. No, there's a percentage I am a American, which means I am a mutt. I have Sicilian, German, English, and Welsh. I'm a big fucking mix. I did 23andMe, so I know exactly what I am. You and Josh seem to differ on the risk profile of Colombia. Caleb says to downplay the risks, while Josh says it's not worth it when you can just go to Mexico. I want to see you two debate this. Cool. All right. Yeah. I don't have a strong opinion about that, but yeah. I know you're pretty serious about your drinking water quality. Very serious. I want to live a long time. Yeah. What kind of filtration system do you recommend? Go on I forget which YouTube channel it is. I think it's the Unchained CEO channel. I show you exactly how I filtrate my house when I had a house. Now I'm in an apartment, but I show you exactly what I'm doing. Is haggling a bad habit? It's a fantastic habit. I wish more Westerners did it. No, it's great. Do it. It's awesome. Hell yes. Does Washington state new capital gains tax affect you? I don't know. And if it does, guess what? I will do Billy's get residency in South Dakota, and I'll fix that problem in a heartbeat. I also have Washington state residency, but I haven't left yet. I don't know. I don't have a lot of capital gains. That's not part of my life. I tend to keep my stuff invested. And if I invest it, I roll it other investments. So that's not a thing for me, worrying about capital gains at this point in my life. If it affects me, I will very quickly shift my driver's licenses to another state, which you can do in a heartbeat. Do you have credit cards with benefits wherever you bank? Yes. Wherever I bank, no. I bank in a lot of different banks. So do I have credit cards? I have debit cards for all my bank accounts. Do I have credit card accounts for all my bank accounts? No, I do not. That's kind of a hassle. But I just got they're sending me my first Dubai credit card in like the end of this week. That's pretty cool. So yeah. And it's through a Sharia bank. Oh no. Sharia. In Dubai, the Sharia banks are better than the non-Sharia banks. They're easier. They get faster transfer times. They require less paperwork, and they don't fuck with your money because it's a Sharia bank. So they don't lend it out 9 times, all this other crap. Because I'm not a Muslim, I don't show this work. There's rules against that for Sharia, so they have to manage the money as if it's Sharia. So they're safer, they're better. Now I bank at some other banks in Dubai that are non-Sharia, but I've had a better experience at the Sharia banks. I was just there today at one of them. It's awesome. So, yeah. And what's funny is that these Arabs are very clever. See, people think the only reason they have money in like Dubai is because they have all the oil. They have a lot of oil in Venezuela. How'd that work out? So no. The reason a lot of these Arabic countries, some of them, UAE, Bahrain, Qatar, Saudi Arabia to a degree, it's because they're smart. So what these guys do is they have a bank. See, the Sharia banks don't make as much money because they can't lend it out 10 times, right? Because that's where banks make their money. So here's what they do. These finance companies in the Arabic world, the first world Arabic world, those 4 countries, they'll start 2 different banks. So they'll start one bank that is a Sharia bank. They'll put Islamic in the name, like Abu Dhabi Islamic Bank. And so if you're very conservative with your money, you go to the Sharia bank. Okay, then they'll start another bank that doesn't have the word Islamic, that's non-Sharia, and they'll say, hey, if you're Western, come bank at this one. Woo! And that way they get the entire market. It's clever because you realize the 2 different banks, 2 different names, it's the same bank. It's just not the same bank. It's owned by the same company. Smart. So there you go. Oh, you don't have the link, Josh? Fuck, really? Okay, hang on. Let me see. Hang on a sec. We didn't get you that link already? Okay, hang on a minute. Hang on, folks. Let's see. Josh, I'm going to ping it to you in our base camp. Okay, I'm doing that right now. Hang on a moment, folks. Good thing I have a fast computer. All right, Josh, it's in your ping. Can we ask woman questions that you're having Josh on? I would like to avoid woman questions, please. So I would like to avoid that. You can ask some very G-rated questions. Those would be appropriate because that's part of people's lifestyle when they go to other countries. But nothing more than some very general G-rated questions, and then no. Other than that, no. Let's see. My dad is also Cuban, so I have an opportunity to get citizenship there. Get it? Should I even bother since it's a communist shithole? Yes. Communist shithole can't tax you, so get it. Yes. Just a guy. Oh, you have a question for Josh. All right. See, I don't know if we'll be, I don't know. I don't think we're going to address that question you just asked, dude. I want to avoid those kind of questions. Billy will hate that. Well, Billy's not here. When we have Billy on, we discuss Billy stuff. When Josh's on, we discuss Josh stuff. What about Turkish citizenship? Here's my default answer for all of you. If you have the opportunity to get another passport, get it. Get it. Get it. The only possible exception is you're trying to get American citizenship. They'll tax you for the rest of your life even if you don't live in the United States. That's an insane idea. Other than that one exception, I can't think of a single passport that I wouldn't take. Get it. Just get it if it's easy to get. I'm getting my Italian passport next year through Ancestry because I'm Sicilian. Bellissimo. So I'm going to be, planning myself for 6 weeks in Rome, Italy next year to get my citizenship. Maybe I'll do it. Actually, I'll do that. Plan that out right now when I'm going to do that. So yes. Now, is Italy the greatest country on earth with the greatest government? No, I don't care. I want more passports. So yes, get it. On a recent podcast, you spoke for a few minutes on net worth. You said if you own a house, it's not included your net worth. That is correct. Can you speak more about this in future podcasts? Sure. What is your top tip or piece of advice to stop being a lissig? Tap into your pain. Why are you upset about your life? Why does your life suck? If you're a Lissig, you're not tapped into your pain. You're like, well, my life sucks, but it's okay. I was never like that because I was a Lissig too. But the difference is I'm like, I hate this. I can't stand this. I hate being poor. I hate being poor. I hate it. Or my woman life, I hate not getting laid. This is driving me insane. Or in some cases, I hate only having sex with ugly girls or average. No. You got to tap in your pain more. That's your starting point. I agree mostly, but Turkey is known to fuck over their citizens and block them from leaving the country just because they said something the government didn't like. I didn't say move to Turkey. That's not what I said. I did not say move to Turkey. I said get a Turkish passport. Yes. Well, you have to go there to get the passport. What are the odds that on that visit they're going to block you? 2% rule, 2% rule, 2% rule. Go to my YouTube channel and watch the video on the 2% rule. Okay. Josh, give me a thumbs up when you're ready. No rush. Give me a thumbs up when you're ready. All right, that's fine. No rush. Let me see here. What else? Hang on. If you are in London or going to be in London this weekend, calebjones.com/events. I have a very inexpensive seminar I'm giving in London. And I decided last week, I changed the curriculum of that seminar. I'm going to be talking about stuff I have never talked about publicly in that seminar. Never talked about it. So if you're going to be in London with us, you are the first people to receive this information publicly. I've not talked about it publicly at all. At all. You'll like it. If you want to hang out with us in London, if you're in the London area, calebjones.com/events. We have no limit for the number of people. But your deadline is Friday because the event is Saturday. There's a mastermind there too. That's a little more expensive. What's the best advice you give to Josh as a guy in his 30s just starting his 5 Flags lifestyle? Well, I wouldn't give it to Josh because Josh's already done this. I would say set up a location-dependent business so you don't have a fucking 9-to-5 job anymore. That's step 1. 90-day business builder. 90day.ca. That's the first piece of advice. If you have a job, that's your biggest problem. Your job is a sea anchor that is pulling you down the ocean and you're sinking into the ocean slowly and you're chained to it. You think it's like, oh, it makes sure I'm stable because I have a job or I have a good job because I work for Google and I live in San Diego and I have a college degree. You're fucked. You're fucked what's coming. You're fucked. You got to get rid of your job. Job is a temporary condition to pay your bills or you're starting your business. All a job is in the modern era. 30 years ago, different. All right. Josh, you ready or no? You ready? Okay. Hang on a second. Let me bring on Josh. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah. You're a little, no, you're fine. You're good. I can hear you fine.
All right.
Where are you right now? Are you in Guad?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Let me introduce Josh really quick and I'll have him introduce himself. So Josh is my son. And if you're not familiar with Josh and myself, I will address the 2 elephants in the room because I always have to address this. Very confused. You may notice that Josh doesn't look like me. There's a slight difference in skin tone. You might notice this. So people always say, oh, so you had like your first wife was black? No. Matter of fact, Josh's wife is as opposite as you can get to a black woman. So here's the quick. I'm going to just summarize the history. We're not going to go into detail about this unless you guys really want to know about this stuff. When I was a young, stupid beta male and didn't know what the hell I was doing, I was 24 years old, literally. I got the hots for this older blonde woman and hooked up with her and married her much too quickly. She already had Josh as a son. He was 4 or 5 years old at the time. I adopted him, and then we had a daughter together. So my daughter is on another video. And then we were divorced about 9 years later. And just because I have a problem with his mom doesn't mean I have a problem with him. So he's still my son because that's what a man does. So that's number 1. Number 2, Josh's age. You're 31 or 32? I forget. How old are you?
32.
32. Okay, cool. I always forget my children's ages. I'm a very bad father. So the next thing is, if I say I have a son who's 32, people go, what? You have a 32. Okay, so here's the deal with that. I was 24 when I started dating his mom, 25 when I married his mom. He was already 4 or 5 years old. So Josh and I are exactly 20 years apart. So Josh was born when I was 20. Matter of fact, that's the way I can remember your age. I can just deduct 20 from my age. So I'm 52, if that makes sense. Although your birthday is a little later in the year. So that explains that the age difference. And what's funny is that Josh, you probably weren't aware of this when you were a little kid, but when Josh was little going to school, and I would go to all the dad events, like the games and the school events and stuff like that, I was always the youngest dad in the room by far. It's all these dads who are like in their early 40s, and I was like 26, like, hey guys, what's up? I looked very out of place. So there you go. Josh lives the lifestyle that we talk about here. He is fully location independent. He is fully Five Flags. He's got residencies. He moved out of the United States before I did. I left in 2021. Did you leave in 2019? When did you leave?
Let's see. I started spending a lot of time outside of the United States in 2016, 2017, and then
right. When did
a
you
majority, probably either late 2018. Yeah. I think is late 2018.
So Josh left the United States before I did. And most of the time he has been, I'll have him talk about this. You used to split your time between Mexico and Thailand, and now you're mostly Mexico, right?
No.
Most of the year. No? Okay.
Most of the year, well, it's pretty much a 50-50 split. Except for last year, I spent a little bit more time in Europe than I spent in anywhere else. So
more than 6 months?
Yeah.
But that's not typical. That was a weird
just
year.
Slightly. Well, so 3 years ago, let me get this right. Yeah, 3 years ago, it was 6 months Mexico, 6 months Asia.
Okay.
Then last year, 6 months Mexico, 6 months Europe. And then this year, it's going to be slightly more in Mexico, probably, and then probably Europe as well. But this year, I want to go to more South American places, like El Salvador. We talked about this a little bit.
Yeah, we should.
And
talk
then,
about that. Yeah, that's cool.
And then, depending on how Venezuela shapes up over the next couple months, I want to check out Venezuela as well.
Very cool.
So
those are 2 places I want to go to. I don't have time this year. That's awesome. So you'll hit those before I will. Those are cool. Really quick, before we get into your travel stuff and where you live, let's talk about your business really quick. And I want to clarify something for this, because I know what kind of questions I'm going to get, because this is the internet. You're a successful businessman. You make really good money. You're 100% location independent. So obviously, and I do this for everyone I bring on this channel when I bring on success stories. So I'm gonna do the same thing to you. Obviously, the only reason that you make a lot of money and you're a self-employed successful businessman is because I'm your dad and I'm really rich and I gave you a whole bunch of money to start your business, right? Didn't I give you like $1 million to start your business like Donald Trump?
That's exactly what happened. Surprise, surprise.
Right.
I don't think you even became one of my clients until I was already making a pretty healthy amount of money. In fact,
so Josh is one of my clients. But when you got started, have I ever given you any money to start your business?
Oh, no.
Yeah. Okay.
No.
How about this? Okay, I didn't give you any money, but clearly the only reason you're successful is I do what all the other successful dads do, and I took you around and I networked you with all my business contacts all over the world. And I introduced you to all these people, and then they became your clients because wink, wink, he's Caleb's son. So just go ahead. And so I did that, right?
No, I don't think I've ever met a single one of your business friend. And my first business, massively different industry than computer consulting.
Right. Because back then when Josh was younger, I was a computer consultant. Correct. So Josh did this on his own. He was making good money well before he hit 30. I mean, you were nowhere near 30 when you started making like real money you could live on. You were nowhere near 30. I forget how old you were. So just like we had Henry on last week, making 6 figures a month. We had Romessa on before that in Pakistan. She's a teenager making, 6 figures. This is not this difficult, folks. And if normal people can do this, you can do this. And Josh just did the basic stuff that all have Josh. All of you talk about this in a minute, but it's not like this was super. Let's start with that. So your business, because I know you've pivoted a few times, just like I had to. When you started making real money, was it through anything super complicated? And if it was, be honest.
No. It was, I mean, when I started making real money, it was way, I don't want to say easier than it is now, because now it's still pretty easy. But in like 2015, I want to say 2016, Facebook ads were super cheat code. I actually have a funny story I could tell some of you, just because I don't really like putting it out there. But Facebook ads, you could super manipulate. And so you could get like 0.001 like cents for impressions, like for a CPM. So you would get 1,000 impressions for 0.001 cents.
Real quick. Define CPM for those who don't know what that is.
So every 1,000 impressions. So
define impression for those who don't know what it is.
Okay, so if you create an ad, people see it, and that's an impression.
Right.
So for every 1,000, you could get like 0.001. And then for a video, you could get even better impressions. And then I found a way. Well, I accidentally made a spelling mistake on one of my ads, and people were obviously kind of smart asses, and they're like, oh, you didn't even spell this right. And that just increased the engagement and viewership of my ad. And I was like, I'm not going to shut this off just to fix. Right. And that made me over 6 figures just with that ad. And that was in 2016, 2015. It was ridiculous.
Let's put this in context. How old were you in 2016? Let's do the math.
23.
Huh?
23, I think. No.
23?
20s?
Yeah.
2015.
91. Josh was born in...
Yeah, so I must have been 24.
Okay, 24.
Yeah. So...
Yeah. Now, they
put
an end to that shit. I mean, if I report on this, they just changed that bullshit like in 2018. All of a sudden, everyone just went, oh my God, I'm losing all my money. I mean, even Sam Ovens was freaking out when they changed the YouTube, the Facebook ad algorithms. Yeah, I had a lot of people who were making like 30, 40,000 a month, and they went from 30,000 a month to like 3,000 a month.
Yeah.
Like shit. So anyway, but then it
was
switched.
Wild.
I know. I wasn't involved in it, but I had buddies. I'm like, holy shit. I know. It's wild. Yeah.
It's switched to other things now, but it's still not like how Facebook was back then, especially because the market was so new. Like your ads didn't even have to be good. You could be a complete idiot. Yeah. Just as long as you had an ad, pretty much. You could, So
it was like Bitcoin. Yeah, I know.
And so, yeah, it was super easy. And I wasn't doing anything special. I was selling to real estate agents back then. And, just sharing what I knew. That's it.
What are you doing now for your business, and how well is it working, and how are you doing it? And you can be as specific or general as you'd like.
Yeah. So, wow. I've ventured into a few different things now. So we still have our first client ever. So it's a real estate brokerage. Yeah. We still work with them.
Cool. I didn't know that. Cool.
Yeah. So we still run ads for them, still do some trainings for them. And I actually created a real estate marketing course. And so I kind of just license the course to them so they can give it to their agents. And I get like a licensing fee for that. And they have a pretty decent sized brokerage. And then we do a little bit more marketing for agents. We have our program that we sell to agents. And then when I met Gina, you should probably remember Gina.
Yep.
She
Yep.
made a lot of connections for me with her network, and then she had a e-learning company.
Did you get clients from her connections or not so much?
Oh yeah,
You did? This is the woman you met at Freedom Fest, right?
yeah.
Okay, let me report that story to you guys. This is the power of being an extrovert. Now, introverts could do this too. That just when you're an introvert, you have to force yourself to do this. I saw this happen right in front of me. So Josh is way more socially skilled than I was in my 20s. I had to learn how to be as skilled as he is. He came by that naturally. He had that since he was a little kid. And so he's very comfortable talking to people. I'm comfortable talking to people, but I don't like it, and I have to force myself to do it. So we were at Freedom Fest, Josh and I, in Vegas. This is a long time ago now. This is at least 5-6 years ago. And we were sitting there waiting. Was it Robert Kiyosaki? I forget who that was. Because you got a picture with Robert Kiyosaki at the end of one of those sessions. But let me think a minute. So we were sitting waiting for the speaker to come on. And I'm sitting next to Josh, and I'm on my phone doing business, of course. And Josh is looking around, and this woman sits next to him. And he goes, "Hi, my name's Josh." And he just starts talking to her, which is something I would never do. And so that's all he said. He's like, "Hi," I think that's what you said. Like, "Hi, I'm Josh. How are you?" Or something like that. And she goes, "Oh, hi." And they start talking. She becomes a client. I think back then she was paying you, this was bigger money for you back then. It was like $3,000 a month for her initial thing. I forget how much. Was it more than that? It was about $3,000 a month.
So,
right?
well, it's a two-part thing. So she paid me a setup fee to build her whole funnel. So I built her whole funnel, and that was like 15 grand. And then,
shit. Okay. Wait, pause this really quick. All he did was at a conference say, "Hi, my name is Josh." He made $15,000. Do you guys understand how this works? How when you're not a Lissig and you take action in real life, because Josh was out in the world in real life, talking to real life people, not sitting by his computer listening to podcasts all day like a lot of you guys are doing. He's out doing real shit. And he was in his 20s. He was a kid. He's still a kid. Okay. So then what he just mentioned is she referred him to a bunch of other people. Well, you finish the story because I don't know the rest of it.
yeah.
How much
So
money you made from her referrals? All the referrals in all her business. 6 figures?
a lot. That's
Yeah,
what
a
I
lot. So just by saying, "Hi, my name is Josh," because he did it in the real world at a business conference. I mean, shit, dude.
Yeah. So let me think here. Yeah. So it's important to note that she had an e-learning business, so similar to yours. So like education companies, online education companies. And then I made her a lot of money, and that's when I completely changed my whole pricing for my business. And then that's when I pivoted more from real estate agents who don't have as much money because they aren't making 100 grand per month kind of stuff. And so pivoting to e-learning companies who can easily do 100 grand per month. And I don't even remember what I started out charging her like as the initial like retainer fee for the ads, but it was like 2,500 or three and a half maybe.
I remember 3 or something. Yeah, that was a long time ago.
But if you help someone make 100 grand and you get 3.5, it's like, okay, that's cool. You can help someone, but you should probably reevaluate how you're charging people, especially if you can do it consistently. And so I was like, we're going to reevaluate this whole pricing structure because, I'm bringing in a lot of money for you. And so we switched to 3.5 plus 10% of the profit generated. And profit margins for e-learning companies absolutely ridiculous. And so we were doing that. And after like a couple months, she started introducing me to other people she knew. Because my dad didn't talk about this, but she's like in Robert Kiyosaki's inner circle. And she is a speaker. Yeah. And she is a speaker at the event as well. And she was actually...
Wait, she was a speaker at Freedom Fest we went to?
Yeah, she was.
Oh, I didn't know this. I didn't know this.
The reason she was sitting next to us is because she was next up on that stage.
Oh, no kidding. That's so
Yeah.
funny. I didn't know that.
So she
Wow.
had a ton of connections.
Oh
And
shit.
so
Yeah.
and this is why it gets complicated because she started like just giving me access to her inner network. And so she's giving me like tips on investing and private placements and things she was doing with her money, introducing me to other business owners and education companies. And so I got into that and she referred me to a few people doing that. And then we made a lot of money. And that's when I pretty much just stopped advertising to real estate companies and just started doing e-learning stuff because
Better
it's
margins.
way better margins,
Yeah.
arguably easier to get results because
Oh yeah. No, unquestionably. I would make that argument. Yes.
and like
It's a lot easier for me to make money doing what I'm doing online than in a real estate is to sell a house. Holy shit.
yeah,
Not even
and
close.
real estate agents, some of them just don't understand their business owners. So
I
when you
know.
tell them they need to call leads, they're like, "Oh, blah blah blah."
I know.
But like e-learning companies, they realize if they need to do something, they're going to do it because that's where they make their money.
Yeah.
So yeah, and
Real estate
now
is also full of a lot of wannabes. They're not really serious,
yeah,
honestly. I mean, a lot of people a lot of women in particular, but some men too. They go, "Oh, I can just set my own hours and kind of fuck around and just do whatever I want. And every once in a while, sell a house." Okay, they're not really
yeah,
serious.
and
That like
a
me
lot of them just don't have the money. So
and that.
it doesn't really make sense except for brokerages.
Right.
And so
Right.
I skipped that part, but we have some brokerages that we still help, but those aren't individual agents. So the brokerage hold them accountable to, following up with those leads. And so I don't have to.
You guys can start asking questions for Josh, either business questions and or Five Flags questions, especially Mexico, Thailand, Asia, and I'll get to their questions in a minute. So you go start throwing them in there now. I see some already. We'll get your questions in a minute. I want to cover some more topics with Josh. We'll get to Q&A. So what would you recommend for a young guy in his 20s? I'll revamp that. A guy who's 34 or under, because I consider that a young person, young guy or young woman. We have women on this channel. Young person under 34 who wants to start a location independent business and doesn't know how to get started or is nervous. And what would you do? What would you recommend that person to do, knowing what you now know? Or here's another version of this question. What would you do if you were starting from now, knowing everything you know? If you were to start all over and start a business right now, what would you do? You can answer either question or either
Well, for the second question, if you want to know what I would do right now,
sure.
I would take whatever skills I have, what experience, whatever expertise, whatever passions, and I would sell that to other people. That's what I would do.
Yeah.
That's essentially what I did with my real estate business. Is I sold them how to get clients through an online course at the time. And that was just
sorry, go ahead.
And that was just my experience and expertise at the time, but you could also do it with some select passions as well.
Do you have an answer for it? Maybe you don't, because I do, but maybe you don't have an answer to this question. All the guys who say, but I don't know anything. I'm dumb. I have no marketable skills. I'm stupid. No one would ever pay me. I'm dumb. What would you say if a guy said that to you? Or would you have an answer for that? I have an answer.
Yeah. So everyone has something that they've experienced, that they've accomplished, or that they're passionate about that someone else could benefit from. The thing is, you need to realize that you only need to be one step ahead of someone else in order for you to sell that skill or hobby or whatever to someone else. You don't need to be you don't need to be, let's say, some super dating guru to sell dating. You just need to be one step ahead of whoever you're trying to sell to. And that's because you don't know how important that step is to someone else. So real estate agents, the step ahead I was with Facebook ads at the time. And so I was 20 something, and I was selling to much older, much more experienced agents who were better real estate agents than I was, but I was better at marketing. So that was the step ahead
Good point.
that I was from then. Now I
Very
was a lot of steps behind when it comes to actual like real estate agent skills. So they could have easily sold me how to be a good real estate agent.
Mhm.
And so many people, it could be something you've overcome, depression, anxiety, back pain, doesn't matter. Could be a traumatic experience, really doesn't matter. I firmly believe everybody has at least experienced something that other people could benefit from. And it doesn't have to be like everyone talks about like making money online and dating and fitness, but those are like if you want to be like a millionaire. There are tons of different industries that and passions you could sell to people if you just want to make a cool 10K per month or something like that. It doesn't have to be, something like what I
Grant
do.
Cardone.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's what people think. They see Alex or Mosey and Grant Cardone and Tom Bilyeu and all those guys. Like, oh my God, I could never do that. You don't need to do that. You don't need to do that. I don't even do that. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, right. Good answer. Yeah, good. Really quick, you mentioned back pain. So you guys are interested, you could go to losethebackpain.com. That guy, last time I checked in with him, was making $200,000 a month. And his only niche is helping people with back pain. That's it. Nice and narrowly niched. So this is not very difficult. And this guy was doing all kinds of shit wrong. And last time I checked, he's probably making a lot more than that. I haven't talked to him in a while, but anyway, as an example. Let's see. I'm trying to think of more. I have another business question to ask you, and then we'll switch to your international lifestyle stuff and Five Flags stuff.
Okay, one thing, quick
Yeah,
little plug before we get
yeah,
into it.
go
If you
for it.
guys want to see exactly what I would do, go to www.7fbusinessbuilder.com/YT, like YT.
Say that one more time and then put it in the chat.
I don't know. I don't know.
Oh, you might send it. Yeah,
I
put it in the
can't.
chat. If I get it, I'll copy it in the public chat. You might be on the
Okay.
first or private chat. And say it one more time for the podcast. Because
www.
one guy already asked, what is your website? So they can check you out anyway. So great.
Okay, if I disappear for a second,
That's fine.
I'll come
Just
right back.
That's fine. Come right back.
But before I do that, the website www.7fbusinessbuilder.com/YT.
And that's 7F as in Frank.
Yeah.
Yeah, you lost your video, but you just come back when you're ready.
Okay.
Let me see if I'll answer a question any of you asked me while we're waiting for him. One of you is saying, I like it when you yell at us. It's very motivating. You're right. I shouldn't be afraid to yell at you guys. I'm not afraid. I just want to balance it out by, information/yelling. So it's not all yelling. I mean, I guess I could do all yelling. The only guy I know that does all yelling is the Snake Diet guy. He does all yelling. I guess that works for him. So I'll be coming to the seminar on Saturday. Cool. It'll be strange seeing you in person for seeing you on screen for so many years. I always find that surreal. It is weird because I've experienced this. I've met like my big hero for it was Brian Tracy, and I finally met him one day, and it was very weird for me. So it'll be weird, but I'm actually pretty nice in real life. It'll be a big group of people, but I'll make sure to say hi to everybody because it's a larger group I was planning on. Let's see. You're asking a Mexico question. I'll have Josh answer that. David Castle, I do not answer woman questions on this channel. Go to my other channel when I do the next live stream.
Did you get that link?
I got it. I'm going to post it in the chat here. And then I'll post this on the video. All right, I just posted in the chat the link he was talking about. Is there anything else you want to say about business before we change this conversation to Five Flags international stuff? Anything you want to say? Mostly
Not
about, guys who wanted to get started, guys who are unsure, guys who are young, guys who want to be location dependent. If not, we'll pivot right here to international stuff because a lot of guys
I
are asking
mean,
questions.
yeah. I mean, the only thing I'd really say about the business stuff is it's really easy. All you need is pretty much two things: knowledge and implementation. So if you have those two things, and if you don't try and like be some sort of innovator, and if you just do the things that someone clearly lays out for you, you're
Right.
probably going to be ridiculously successful faster than you would think if you actually just do the things and don't dilly dally. I mean, I've talked to my dad about this before, but like, in my strong opinion, if it takes you 4 weeks to choose a niche, mm,
This is
that
where Josh and I are similar. Yeah, we're impatient with people. Yeah, I know.
that's a problem. Well, just the other day, I was talking to a guy who started a coaching business 3 months. This is month 3, and he's still working on his website. And I'm like,
I
dude,
know. I
in a
know.
coaching business, you just need a Calendly link. Why are you
I
still
know.
working on a website? But yeah,
Exactly. You're
that's
correct.
all I have to say. Just like stop thinking and start doing when it comes to making money. And
Yeah. Stop
it'll
thinking and start doing, Lissigs. Correct.
it'll change your life more than you think. I know people say money isn't everything and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it is.
And yeah, I mean, your life is just so much better if you have money. It's not even comparable.
You don't need billions of dollars. You need I've talked about 85K a year, which is about 7,000 a month. That's it. You want to make more, please do. But that's
Yeah,
all you don't need to be Alex or Mosey. Right. And it's not
yeah.
that hard. Josh's whole point is getting that kind of income. He just said it. I agree with him. 10K a month. It's not that hard. It's not.
It's
But you
okay.
gotta fucking do it.
Here's my strong opinion, and this is the last thing I'll say. 10K per month for an online business is like minimum wage as an online business
Yeah.
owner. It
I mean,
is
yes,
stupid easy.
I have thoughts about that. I try to keep them to myself publicly, but yes, that's like pussy money. I agree. Now, again, if you make 2,000 a month out of your horrible job or your Uber driver gigs, and you hear numbers like 10,000 a month, you go, "Oh my god, I could never." That's just context. You're wrong. You don't have the context for it. Doesn't mean it's not easy. It is easy. Josh is right. This is yeah, he's right. I could talk a lot about that, but yeah, okay. We only have so much time though. All right. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. If you have a question about that, put them in the chat. All right, let's pivot really quick. So let's talk about where to live, countries you like. Let's talk about Mexico, places that. So unlike me, Josh has been all over Mexico. I really focus on Guadalajara and kind of Mexico City a little, and that's kind of my thing because I've spent so much time in Dubai and Paraguay and places like that. Josh has been all over Mexico, so he's very very understanding about Mexico. That's a big part of his life now. Do you still own that place on the Yucatan? No, you don't have that anymore. Okay, all right. So where do you like to go? What countries do you like? What residencies, if any, do you have? If you don't want to talk about that, you don't have to. So you don't have to be a specific. You don't want to. Where are the countries you like? Where are the residencies you like or going after? Just in general, where do you like to go and spend your time and why?
Okay. So first, on my channel, someone asked me this because I created a video of where I'd go if I had like $1,000 per month. And they were saying they made like 4 grand per month. So they're like, oh, if I have 4 grand, where would I go? And I'm telling you this to give you guys context. So it depends on if you're a business owner or if you're like a freelancer or just have a location independent job. And so if I was a business owner, I would go to a place that is $1,000 per month for living expenses so I could reinvest more into my business. Like
Paraguay.
I wouldn't take that extra income and increase
Right.
my lifestyle
Right.
because in that video, actually, I talk about Kuala Lumpur. That's probably where I would go if I only had $1,000 per month, because you couldn't make 1,000 work in Bangkok. And so, residencies I have a Thai Elite visa, and that's like a 10-year. I think I got the 10-year one. So I have 10 years there. I have Portugal, although,
Did you get that? Is that done?
yeah, I
Cool.
got that done a while ago. But
Okay. So is that
I'm
temporary? It's like 2 years? How long does that residency last?
it's 2 years renewable, and then
And then permanent after that?
I think you can apply for permanent after that.
Okay.
Or it was a year temporary. I don't rem It is weird. It's like
Portugal's weird.
you get like a year, and then you get your actual one at the end of that year. I don't remember how it works. It's been a while, and it might have changed by now.
You have Mexican residency.
Mexican
You have Thailand, Portugal.
and Portugal
Is that those
and
three? Okay.
United States,
And
obviously.
U.S. of course.
And then I'm trying to get out of Portugal right now, though, actually. So,
It's Europe.
well, it's just, I don't mind Europe. This is where we're different, because I don't have any assets there. And so I'm fine riding that train to the end of the station, because I think it's one of the better places to live. But I think I just prefer Greece and some other places.
Depends where in Europe. Europe's a very big place. Depends where. Yeah, Greece is cheap and it's pretty. Sure.
And I like the food, and the women are
collapsed.
beautiful. So
yeah, I mean, yeah. So yeah,
that's the other thing. I don't mind if a place collapses around me, as long as there's not blood in the streets. So,
Mhm.
but I wouldn't like buy anything there. And then I think I talked to you about this, how I'm thinking about taking a little exploratory trip to Saudi Arabia to see how that is.
Well, I'm going there. You and I could go. I'm going there when I come back here in October. I'm going to Riyadh.
Yeah, we definitely talked about this, but okay.
You did?
Okay. Yeah.
I don't remember. All right.
Because I thought you were gonna go earlier, but yeah.
I couldn't. Trust me. I couldn't go to Uzbekistan. I couldn't go to Riyadh because of all this banking shit I'm doing in Dubai. But
yeah,
that's all done now. So when I get back here in October, yeah, I'm going to Riyadh. In addition to Uzbekistan, I got a few places I'm going this year. Yep. I mean, it's an hour flight for me. I can go whenever I want.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, Saudi's kicking ass right now. They're doing really well.
The whole tax situation is getting a little unsustainable for me. So,
so what he's talking about really quick, if you don't have any context for what's going on in Saudi, is that even in Dubai, they just introduced that 9% corporate tax, which I've talked about a few times. Saudi Arabia has seen these little countries raise their tax rates a little bit. And so MBS, who is the young guy who runs that country now, has said, and I believe him, look, we are not going to ever charge you any taxes. They need people coming there more than Dubai or Bahrain or Qatar. They're desperate for a number of economic reasons. They need people coming in there. They need the money. And they're desperately trying to change their outlook in the country or around the world. And they kind of took a hit with the Khashoggi thing. So they're like, we will never charge you 1 penny of tax. Please come here. So it's making Saudi very attractive. And they've completely westernized certain regions like Riyadh, where it's like it's not like Dubai, but it's in that zone. It's rapidly becoming that. So anyway.
Yeah, and they have that whole the name escapes me now, but they have that whole developmental project.
NEOM.
Yeah. That they're implementing.
That'll be a while.
And I actually knew a girl who lived in Saudi Arabia, like, I don't know, 6 years ago or something, with her family, because her parents were teachers over there. And she said it's amazing. So I was like,
I'm hearing nothing but people in Dubai go there all the time. They love it, including people you wouldn't expect, like Instagram models, and they love it. So if they like it, pretty Western, pretty forgiving. So yeah. Cool.
So I'm thinking about rearranging some stuff there, but that's what I have for now.
Okay, so in Mexico, get a lot of questions about this. I saw one or two questions about Mexico. Let's do two scenarios in Mexico specifically. You're a young guy and you make like 2,000 a month or something or less, and you want to live in a cool part of Mexico that's safe and awesome, good lifestyle, women, weather. Where would you recommend Mexico specifically?
It depends what you're interested in. Like
So
culture, do you
give me
want to be
several options. Yeah, go ahead.
do you want to be by the beach? Do you want culture?
Let's give me three of them. Let's do beach.
Okay. And then how important is dating for you as well? So,
Let's assume it's reasonably important. Most people on the channel, not everybody. So let's assume
okay.
it's reasonably
So
important.
here's what I'll say. The peso has been pretty strong. It's gotten weaker in the last week or so. 2000, not a ton of money for most of the like good areas of Mexico. I'm sorry, but it's not like dirt cheap anymore. That's just
Right.
not how it is. So
Then you got to go to Paraguay or Uruguay if you want that. But you're
yeah.
right.
So what I'd say is I would definitely look at Mexico City, Guadalajara.
Yep.
But you're probably not going to be in the desirable locations. Or you might be in the desirable location, but you're going to be living in like a small kind of studio place.
Mhm.
So like for Mexico City, I would look to like San Rafael, just like a neighborhood a little bit north of some of the like more popular places like Roma Norte. Santa Maria La Ribera would be another good place I would check out. And then, like, to the south of the city would be pretty good. But you're not going to find anything in, like, Polanco or Roma Norte or Condesa, really, for assuming, unless you're talking like you have $2,000 to spend on rent. But I'm assuming if you have $2,000, you're probably
Well, right.
gonna want to spend like 800 on rent max.
Right. So let's pivot really quick. So let's talk about guys who are doing like 5,000-6,000 a month or a little more than that.
Oh, then Roma Norte would be fine. You could probably do, yeah, you could probably do Polanco, Roma Norte, any of those places would be fine. I lean towards Polanco because I like nicer things and fine dining. But if you aren't interested in that, Roma Norte, Condesa, both beautiful neighborhoods. And, for a more authentic feel, I would still recommend like San Rafael, but it's not going to be as walkable. Guadalajara, I mean, there's Colonia Americana, there's the area around Midtown Jalisco, there's
cool.
the Andares area, obviously. But it really depends on, what you're kind of looking for. Like, the area around Andares, not gonna be like super walkable. It's just like Andares, right? Like you can walk around Andares, but there's not like other places to go around there.
When you go outside, I mean, when
Whereas,
you go outside that little circle, you mean there's nowhere to walk.
yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas like Colonia Americana, the places around Midtown Jalisco, they're gonna be like more like uh kind of neighborhoods that have like bars, restaurants,
Right.
some parks, not really a lot because Guadalajara doesn't have a ton of parks, but it's just
Right.
way more walkable, a lot more things, a lot more options is what I should say. Um, and then I would say for the single guys out there, the dating in Guadalajara is way better than
The
anywhere
best in
else in
Mexico. I've said
Mexico.
this many times. That's the best.
Not
The
even
hottest women in
close.
Mexico are in Guadalajara. Period.
I will caution you, it's also probably going to be the most difficult. So, Mexico City,
More than
way
Mexico City?
easier. Yeah. Mexico City is way easier, but the girls are not nearly as pretty.
Oh, I think I have heard this. I think you're right. Okay, yeah, I have heard that.
Mexico City is super easy to date in. I mean, it's also, there's a lot more people. And then Guadalajara is just a little bit more, ritzy, I would say.
Yeah,
When
definitely.
and like Guadalajara has a higher education level, higher income level than Mexico City. So it's a completely different vibe.
Right.
And the women are just a little bit more choosy because they have more options that are like pretty solid, I
But
would say.
we're talking mostly about Western guys, so that gives you an edge there too, right?
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, it's not
depending
as choosy as
on
you might think. Choosy if you're Mexican, but if you're not
y-
Mexican,
yeah, but
yeah,
here's why I say it. Someone on my channel asked about it, and he was overweight and not really taking care of his appearance. And he was like, I didn't do well. And I was like, yeah, because like, and the dudes in Guadalajara are probably more attractive than
yeah,
the dudes in Mexico City, just
I
because
I would
there's
agree.
a bit of colorism culture in Mexico.
Mhm.
So in the north of the country, just a little bit different. They're lighter skinned and general seen as more attractive. So if you're not doing the things that my dad recommends, so if you're not maintaining your appearance, not in the gym, doing that kind of stuff, Guadalajara is going to be more difficult. When I say more difficult, that doesn't mean difficult though. It means more difficult than Mexico City. So
Mhm.
have the proper context for what I am saying. Um, and then if you're more into like the beaches, I really like Mazatlan. I don't like Puerto Vallarta. I like Merida a lot, but the dating isn't going to be great in Merida. And then,
That I
like,
know.
starting now in Merida, it's going to be blazing hot. I mean, if you walk outside, you're going to be sweating in 30 seconds. Kind of hot. But it's super cheap. The safest city in Latin America, I believe, at least like last year it was.
Mhm.
Um, Great food. It's not
Very
on the beach,
livable.
but it's located near a beach. Um,
Let's switch to really quick. Let's switch to
yeah.
Thailand.
Ooh.
So here's what I keep hearing about Thailand. I know very little about Thailand. You know a lot more than I do. Bangkok used to be super cheap, but now it's expensive or getting expensive. But if you go outside of Bangkok, it's still very cheap.
That's probably accurate. Like I know Chiang Mai is super cheap, but I think Chiang Mai is a shithole. So, to
Okay.
each their own. And the Chiang Mai has burning season, so it's uninhabitable for 3 months, in my opinion. So
Okay.
that's another problem.
Mhm.
Uh, But Bangkok, yeah, definitely way more expensive. I think the price of my place there has went up from it was like 300 something, and now it's like eight hundred
Really?
and ninety something. Yeah,
A month? It was 300 a month. Now it's almost 900 a month. It's tripled.
yeah, it's like 350 or
Wow.
something like that. Uh,
Now,
but I'm in
here's
like a good area.
yeah, I know. Now really quick, those of you who are a little older and looking more at economic factors, Josh just told you that the rent for his apartment has tripled in Bangkok. Why? Because Bangkok's in Southeast Asia, the fastest growing economic region in the entire world. As I've been saying many times, over the next 25 years, all those places, with the possible exception of Laos, so Vietnam, Cambodia, Myanmar, Thailand, even Malaysia, are going to be skyrocketing growth. So that's why. So that's if you're a young guy and you want something really cheap, maybe not Bangkok, but if you're an older guy and you want a growth economy like I did, that's one of the places you can look at. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, and then there's like Phuket, which is getting more expensive from what I hear. I also don't like Phuket, so I personally wouldn't go there, but to each
What do
their
you
own.
like and what do you recommend in Thailand
Bangkok,
right now?
I
Oh,
mean,
that you recommend Bangkok.
well, that's where I would choose. It's not the most budget friendly, but
Okay.
it's the best place to live. Best food, best nightlife, best dating, best everything, in my
Yeah.
strong opinion. It's just
Yeah.
not on the beach. So, like, a lot of people like Koh Samui for beaches. Uh, it's just like too small for me.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Okay. Uh, Before I get to questions, is there anything you want to say about countries, residencies, advice, your opinion on or things you've heard on the internet you think are bullshit or anything? If anything.
Well, I think I've been making a lot more content about traveling and stuff, and I think there's a lot of fluff out there on the internet, especially when it comes to like Eastern Europe. One thing I will say is, I think Eric, right? He was.
Which Eric? I know a few of them.
I don't want to say his last name.
Right. Don't give his last name. Describe him. What Eric? What?
The chef. The chef.
Oh, of course, yes.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna meet up with him in Warsaw this summer.
Cool. He's here in Dubai. Yeah, he's here.
Yeah.
Cool.
So one thing I'll say is, I think a lot of people that have created content about Eastern Europe have probably deceived many of you, just because I think
I've mentioned this.
Like Warsaw in the summer or Poland in the summer, all these places are great for like summertime, but a lot of the content, I know you don't necessarily want to get deep into this, but a lot of the content talks about the women there, and it is just not exactly sticking to the
bullshit.
facts.
I know it's bullshit. I know. We could talk. Maybe one of these days we'll have you back on another channel. We could talk about that more detail. But basically, they're saying it's a haven for like gorgeous women who will hook up with you instantly. And no. Now there's
not even close
of that truth, but most of that is not. They're very traditional. They make you wait a long time. It's a lot more complicated now than it was maybe 20 years ago. Yes. I'm not saying that those women are terrible. Well, some of them are, because you're dealing with the Russian problem, which I've mentioned on my other channel. But yes, agree.
Yeah. So, but I mean, I will also say this is more related to the topics of this video, that Poland is one of the few countries that, as an American, you can pretty much just stay there indefinitely without residency stuff, because the bilateral visa agreement. So you have
I don't know what this is. Describe this. So if I'm an American, I can hang out in Poland for like 6 months.
Okay. So do your own research, because I have not had to use this in years because I have residency in Portugal. So keep that in mind. But last time I checked, the bilateral visa agreement, what you could do is the Schengen 90-180 rule didn't apply if you went to Poland, specifically Poland. So you could stay 90 days in Poland.
Hang on, describe what that is for those of you who don't know. Describe what that is, just 1 or 2 sentences.
What? The Schengen area? Okay,
the nine, not Schengen. What you just said, I don't remember the numbers. 9 rule.
90, 180.
Oh, okay. Yes. Describe that really quick.
Okay, so for every 180 days, you can only be in the Schengen area for 90 days.
So Schengen area is much of Europe, but not all of Europe.
Yeah.
You didn't know. Okay.
It's pretty much everywhere you want to go.
Well, I don't know, but okay. Yeah.
Like fine. Most people, when you think of Europe,
right? You're right.
Yeah. The countries that come to mind first, probably in the Schengen area.
Yeah.
So you can only spend 90 days there. Poland is one of these countries, and then you have to leave for 90 days.
Mm-hmm.
So for every 6 months, you can only be in there for 3 months.
Right.
In Poland
is different because
they have the bilateral agreement with the United States. You can stay in there for 90 days, and then you have to leave for 1 day. Most people go to Ukraine, although,
don't do that now, but yes.
Not sure how that is right now.
You got to take a train. I have friends in Dubai that do that. So anyway, yeah.
And then you can go back into Poland.
So you just need to be gone for a day once every 90 days, and you can stay there for as long as you want.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, cool. So it's but you have to be careful if you're like leaving from another Schengen state or country.
Right.
So that's why I say do your own research. I'm not an expert on this stuff.
Yeah.
Just.
And by the way, really quick on Poland, for those of you who don't know, Poland was and still is, a lot of people consider one of the least bad Western. It's a hybrid between Western and Eastern Europe, I think. But and it used to be like this great. Everyone thought this was this great place, and it was because it was less. It wasn't woke. It wasn't left wing. And so a lot of guys there thought it was great. That is rapidly changing, and so a lot of people in Poland are very upset about the direction where Poland is going. The Ukrainian war, they're taking lots of Ukrainian refugees and doing the same thing again with like other Western European nations. And so just be aware that it's not this perfect, awesome, amazing place full of all these perfect white people that a lot of more right-wing guys got excited about, 8, 9, 10 years ago. So I'm not saying it's bad, but just be aware. Yeah.
And frankly, I don't think Polish women are nearly as attractive as some of the surrounding countries.
Which countries? They are attractive. Which countries? You mean Ukrainians?
Ukrainians, Lithuanians, Moldovians, I guess. I don't know.
They're about equivalent to Polish. I bet. Ukrainians are better. I agree. Yeah. Latvians. Yeah. Okay. I more or less agree. I don't agree 100%, but close. Yeah.
Belarusians, but I wouldn't go to Belarus.
Don't. They're hot, but don't. Just don't. Just trust me. If you want happiness, again, we're kind of bleeding over my other channel, but all right. Let's now, before I get to questions, you guys can go ahead and ask Josh anything you want. You can ask me anything you want to, as long as you stay on topic. Are you willing to discuss your personal life, Josh? Because I know you're going to get questions about this, or no?
Sure. It depends on the question.
Depends on the question. So if I ask you a personal question, you could skip it if you want, or just, okay, let me scroll up to the top here. Hang on. Okay, hang on. Almost enough. What's the best advice you'd give a guy in his 30s just starting his Five Flags lifestyle? So international lifestyle. You kind of already talked about that, didn't you?
I mean, if your money's right, then here's what I would say. If your money's right, I would just go traveling around the world. That's what I would do. And figure out what places you like. I know my dad tells you his favorite places. I tell you my favorite places, but you aren't either of us. So your favorite place could be radically different than my favorite place. You could also be looking for different things. Like, I'm not exactly looking for zero tax. Like, I don't mind paying some tax if it's a place that I enjoy and I want to be, kind of thing. And then for me, I also enjoy dating. So I'm not going to go to a place like Dubai where the dating is
complex.
One way. Where, so it's hard to give you like my best advice when I don't know your situation at all.
Find what you like. That's your advice. And I agree with it. Find what you like. Determine what you like. And I've talked about this. Pick some countries you think are interesting and pick one and go there for several days, a week if you can, and see if you like it. And you may go, oh, this is all right. You may fall in love with it or you may hate it. Great. Now you know. Then do the next place. That's exactly what I did. I would just make a list of places. And whenever I could go for a week, I would go for a week. And that's how I fell in love with Paraguay. That's how I fell in love with Hong Kong. When I went to Japan, I'm like, oh, this is all right. I thought I would love Japan. I thought I would hate Paraguay. It was the opposite. I didn't hate Japan, but Japan's fine. I loved Shanghai way more than Japan. But I wouldn't have known that had I not gone. So I agree. I'm a legal resident. This is more for me, I think. Well, go ahead.
One other thing, especially if you're like watching YouTube videos like this, even if people say negative things about a certain region or a certain country, just go for yourself. Like, I've been making content that a lot of Black people have been watching, and they're like, oh, Argentina, super racist. Japan, super racist. South Korea, super racist. And I was like, they might be like racist, but I don't understand what they're saying. And I didn't have bad experiences there. Like, and frankly, this isn't like, Civil War era times where people
Right.
are just getting killed. It's like,
And in Japan,
what are they gonna do? They
right?
don't
So
like
now Japan's
confrontation anyway.
right. So like that's Japan. Japan, they are racist. They are, but they're super nice to you. They're not going to be racist to your face like going to the South. They're going to be super. And then when you leave the room, they're going to say some shit. But you're gone. So who cares? Right.
Yeah.
They've said shit about me in Japan. Big dumb guy Gene. I mean, but they say it when you're not there. They're really nice to you. Oh, yes. Oh, uh-huh. Politest culture in the world. So it's not is what you think is racism is, very different in the symptoms of it are very different in other countries, other cultures. They're not all, it's not the same version of racism. Right.
And another thing, you might get to this, but earlier some guy asked us to debate on Mexico versus Colombia.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the thing with Colombia. My issue with Colombia, specifically Medellin, is that if you are a single guy looking to date there, it is not the best option at the moment, especially if you're relying on dating apps. Just too many horror stories for my taste. Like, it's if you're doing like sugar dating or other things, then sure, be my guest. And I've even talked about this on my channel. If you go to like Bogota, it's way better than in Medellin or Cartagena. That's where like all the problems happen in those two places. But I love Bogota, but the weather is garbage. So that's why I don't recommend Colombia mainly to single guys. Now, if you're in a relationship that is traditional, then, or if you're dating with alternative methods, then sure, go to Medellin or Cartagena. But if you're doing dating in these places, I would not go to Colombia. It's just a little too risky, in my opinion.
So here's what I say about this. Yeah, those happen. But if you dig into those horror stories, and I've talked about this, 90%, and maybe I'm exaggerating slightly, but not much, 90% are because the guys are doing stupid shit. So you don't meet a girl at a bar, take her home to your apartment, and spend the night with her and you don't even know what the fuck she is. You wake up and your wallet's gone. Well, that's because you're stupid. Don't do stupid shit. So if you don't do stupid shit, it knocks your odds down way down where it's workable, in my view. But I agree that it's an easier dating market in Bogota now than Medellin, even though there are negatives to Bogota in terms of lifestyle. I agree with that part. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I would also agree with that. I have a whole video that says this is how I dated in Colombia and all the precautions I took. But taking all those precautions is why I wouldn't recommend it, because I don't want to take all those precautions.
That's okay. So that's different. That if you're like, I don't want to take the precautions, then that's a valid argument. I'm careful when I do this stuff, but maybe it's my personality or because I'm old. I'm very careful because I don't want problems. But I don't mind taking precautions. But maybe if I was 22, I'd have a different opinion about this. But
all the
horror stories I see, I'm like, well, why the fuck did you do that, dude? Everyone I see is even non-dating. Like some guy will go to, I just saw this a while ago. Some guy goes to Colombia and he was in, I forget where he was. I want to say it was Bogota, but it was in a very touristy area of a place a lot of people go. And he had his new iPhone out, brand new iPhone. Hey, everybody, I'm at da-da-da-da. And 3 guys came up and hit him over the head and beat him up and took his phone.
So
they took my phone. Yes, dumb fuck. You don't pull out your iPhone 16 in certain parts of Colombia. Go, hey, everybody. You don't do that.
That's another issue I have. I want to do that because I want to create content. So that's why I say, okay, I prefer Mexico because I can walk around with my phone out wherever.
You can do that
nothing's going to happen.
Places. You can do that in Colombia in certain areas. Yes, you can.
Maybe if you're in like the middle of a farm, but
no.
Okay.
There's certain shit areas you wouldn't do that, but you're right. You have to be in Colombia. You have to be cognizant of where am I? Oh, I better not do this here. And your point is, I don't want to dick with that. I want to just not worry about that. Pull up my phone wherever I want. True, accurate.
Yeah. So
I agree. Right.
That's what I have to say to that comment earlier.
Okay. I'm a legal resident of the USA with an option to obtain full citizenship, born and raised in Mexico. I'm leaning toward doing that for my child. No, just for him to have more options. Thoughts? No. Now, if you were from Africa, like a shithole country, which Mexico is not anymore, maybe you could make that argument. No, I'm trying to get your passport. And I'm an American. I'm trying to renounce my passport. If you give your son an American passport, and Josh, you can weigh in if you want. If you give your son an American passport, he is going to be chained to the American IRS for the rest of his fucking life, no matter where he goes in the world or where he ends up living in the world. Is that what you want for your son? No. Get him a green card, get residency there, and get a passport somewhere else. I'm totally against this, but do whatever you want. It's your son.
I don't know what the comment said, but
okay. He's a Mexican living in the United States, working on getting citizenship for his child, a USA citizenship, and I'm telling him no.
Oh, okay. No. I would get Mexican citizenship. That's why I'm spending more time here.
Yeah. Mexico's an awesome passport. Mexico's the shit. Yeah. Okay. David Castle, I do not answer women questions on this channel. Go to the other channel. Josh, can you share your... Okay, I already did that. Well, he's saying, Josh, can you share your business website and blog where we can find more information about your business? You want to give another link, or you want to stick with one I just gave you?
Just give him that link.
Okay. I fly to Guadalajara tomorrow to pick up my Mexican residency. Cool. I will be there for a week. What are some things I should do or check out when I am there? And someone below him is saying, go to Tequila and Colonial America. Like you said.
Tequila.
Josh kind of already talked about it, but I would go to Andaras, but that's my thing. Yeah,
I mean, depends what you're interested in. Tequila is cool if you want to drink, but if you're by yourself, I don't know that I'd want to go there.
Yeah.
Lake Chapala, Ajijic is where like more retirees go, but it's kind of an interesting, if not a little bit boring place. Tepetitlan is a city to the northeast, which is pretty close by. You can, if you have like a more specific question, you can email me at hall@bettercallhall.us.
Hall@bettercallhall. Say that one more time.
hall@bettercallhall.us.
How much experience, Josh, did you have in your field before starting your business? You kind of already addressed that too, but.
So I started my business based on my experience. So I wasn't like super experienced, but I was really good at marketing. So I wasn't good as a real estate agent. I was bad as a real estate agent, but I got a lot of leads. So I maybe had like 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, maybe somewhere in there before I was like, we're just gonna sell these leads essentially to other agents. That's actually how it got started. Is I was bad at real estate, so I just started giving my leads away to other agents and collecting a referral fee from them because I was terrible. And then they were like, how are you doing this? And that's how it got started. But yeah, so like 3 months, maybe 4 months, especially because like the first like month or two as an agent, you have no clue what the hell you're doing. So, but I knew marketing.
Guy, you don't have a lot of experience when you're, I mean, when I was 23, I didn't have a lot of experience. What kind of experience do you have when you're a young guy? You don't have very much. So Josh's point is he had a few months of experience working on one area. That's it.
So yeah, that's what I'll say. Like my experience was obviously I needed to get clients. So I just learned everything about marketing that I could for real estate. Yeah. And so I paid like for the courses, I paid for the seminars, and a lot of people weren't doing that. And then I took what I knew, and there's a guy by the name of Frank Kern. Some of you probably heard of him.
Josh works with Frank Kern. Those of you know he's like one of the top 3 marketers in the world. Frank Kern.
So I took the like real estate stuff that I knew that was like real estate specific and combined it with what Frank Kern was teaching, which is essentially at the time it was going live and providing value in videos to your target market and then boosting that video with paid ads to just like get a ton of views. And that's what I was doing.
Perfect segue for the next question. Question for Josh. What is your main lead generation strategy? Is it only from your YouTube channel? And you say, it says, I'm talking about his primary lead strategy where you can promote the business builder website.
So that's not like my primary business. My primary business is my advertising and my yeah, pretty much it's like education plus advertising. And the primary lead source is referrals. But the thing with that is we don't actively want more customers all the time. Now, I know a lot of you are going to lose your mind and be like, oh, if you're not growing, you're dying. I think that is the biggest bullshit ever. Like, if I have to be growing, then I have to add more people to my team, profit margins, more overhead, all that kind of stuff. And so we have maybe like 25 clients that are like really solid clients. And then I have like a wait list. And if some of those people drop off, I'll just ask the other clients we have for referrals. And most of the time, they're actually like being like, "Oh, my buddy wants to do this. Can you take him on?" And I'm like, "No, I don't want to hire more people." And the reason we can do this is because what I told you earlier. Like all of my clients.
And you're making an amount of money that you're happy with too. It's not like you're starving for more money.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Right.
yeah,
So,
but most people, especially in my industry, in the advertising agency space, don't make nearly the amount of money that I make because they charge people like, 2 grand per month and they're always on this treadmill, spitting out clients, churning clients. Our churn rate is like super low because we get really good results, but we also have a different pricing structure, which incentivizes us to get the best results for our clients because we get commission fees on top of it. So the more we grow their business, the more we make. And so it's like the perfect business model until a certain level.
I followed those of you for the audience. I followed a very similar model when I was doing corporate consulting. I still do a little bit, but not much. But I've mentioned this, I didn't want tons of clients. I wanted a small number of really good clients. So at one point as a consultant, I had tons of clients. Some were good, some were bad, some were and I hated it. Blew my brains out. Made money, but it sucked. So I revamped it. Talked about this in my books. Revamped it down to just a fraction, small number of really good, high profit, high margin clients that really liked me. And that was so much better. I made more money and I worked less hours. So I followed a very similar model for the consulting. So
Yeah. And I took down most of my videos about how much money I make just because it got a little weird.
well, that's
But
why I don't talk about how much I make. I don't talk about what I make.
I'll tell what I'll say is our goal is to make at least 10K per month from each client. So you guys can probably figure out the math. That's like, and with, there's a decent amount of money in doing that. And after that, it's just, what is it? Diminishing returns, in my opinion.
How did you obtain the 10 years Thai elite visa? How much did you pay total for it?
Oh, God. It was a lot of money. It was 3, 4 years ago. I don't remember the exact numbers, but if I did it again, probably not the best idea.
Five figures?
Especially, oh yeah, especially with Malaysia around now.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think the price went up recently
The
as
price,
well.
well, I don't remember. I don't follow Thailand very close. I think it had in 5 or 6 years. I think it's gone up. Yes. I don't remember though.
I think it went up significantly last year.
Oh,
But it was, mm, I want to say like at least 20 grand.
okay. Do you think the influx of foreigners into Mexico is ruining it as a living flag? I don't think so, but
Okay. Most this is why I say you guys need to get your money right. A lot of people are leaving Mexico because it's getting too expensive for them. Because the peso was like 25 pesos to $1. And like as recently as a week ago, it was 16. So that's
yeah,
what an
yeah.
almost what 30%, 25%, 30% devaluation against of the dollar against the peso. So that's a 30% increase of cost of living for a lot of people who were
For
living
Americans,
here. Yeah.
well, USD people, yeah,
And then the prices also went up because Mexico had inflation as well. So I know a lot of people who moved away because it got too expensive. And like a lot of people left like Puerto Vallarta because it got too expensive. Obviously, there's people still coming here, but they're usually in like the same places, to be honest. It's going to be like Puerto Vallarta, maybe a little bit in Mexico City, where I was telling you about. But like I said, a lot of them have left because the prices have gone up.
and Mexico is rising, and America is collapsing. So that's what happens. It becomes more expensive for Americans. You can look up the term nearshoring. That's what Mexico is getting all the not all, a lot of manufacturing from Europe and America and from China on both ends because it's cheaper to do this in Mexico for all these countries than it is from China for shipping and the trade war that Trump started. So Mexico's doing really well right now and will continue to do well for at least the next few years. So that's another reason. So again, you economic guys, you older guys with more money, Mexico's looking a lot more attractive than it was like 10 years ago. If you're a young guy and you want to live super cheap, then maybe there are other options. Maybe. Now, the great thing about Mexico is that unlike places like Paraguay, it's super close to the US. You're right there. You're 3 hours away and it's the same time. I mean, it's awesome. That's the benefit of Mexico is America's right there. Canada's right there. So that's the benefit, but yeah.
I will say there are still places in Mexico you can live for super cheap. They're just not
Sure.
places I would want to live personally.
Sure.
But
Well, a lot of
like
people wouldn't care though. A lot of people wouldn't care.
Aguascalientes is north of Guadalajara, maybe northwest. Uh, Pretty cool city. I personally much prefer Guadalajara. But there are other places, like if you're looking at like second, third tier cities that are still super affordable. Um,
Yeah.
like Puerto Morelos, in between Cancun and Playa del Carmen, going to
Oh
be
yeah.
way more affordable than both of those, both
Yeah.
Cancun and,
I always forget
but
about that.
not as much to do. So
Yeah.
Tulum is ridiculously expensive now, and
Yeah.
it's a
Well, you were
shithole in
telling
my
me about that. You
opinion.
were telling me about Tulum. Yeah, Tulum's
So
insane. Yeah.
might as well live in LA. Like I got tacos in Tulum, and it was like three tiny tacos for like $15, and I was like, "What is this?"
That's
Like
because
I
all the
could go
tourists
to
and shit down
Mexico
there.
City, get 5 tacos for $2.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and
Yeah.
it's just like a bunch of Americans and hippies in Tulum,
It's a
which if
bunch.
that's
Yes,
your
that's what it is.
vibe,
Right. 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 Have either of you been to Africa and what are the best places to visit there? I have never physically visited anywhere in Africa. Have you?
yeah,
Or no?
I have. I've been to Benin. I've been to Morocco. I've been to
I'll go to Morocco.
Algeria. I've been to
Really? Cool.
yeah.
I didn't know that.
Um,
Did you like any of them?
there's one other place. Benin, cool, small, not a lot to do, but it's interesting. It's like completely different vibe than uh, anywhere else I've been. Way different. A lot more rough around the edges is one way.
Africa. CIA.
Morocco. I have like a love-hate relationship
I
with
can't wait to go.
Morocco.
That sounds so cool. I can't wait to go. I hear a lot of good things.
Morocco is it's the only place I've ever gotten food poisoning.
That's just statistical.
Some of the it's like the worst place for getting hassled. People are just on you like white on
Oh,
rice.
yeah.
Like it
I
is
know.
insane.
Yeah.
Um
I've heard this.
and then the reason I say it's love hate is because there's cities I did not like at all. And then there's cities that I really enjoyed. Um and it's just like a completely different culture. So I enjoyed it. And another thing I'll say is apparently a lot of women have issues when they go there because the guys are infatuated with women.
White women,
Yeah.
foreign
And
women. Yeah.
um, I'll say I probably got treated a little bit differently, maybe a little bit better because many of them thought I was Moroccan. Like they would
Yeah.
start talking to me in French, and I was like, hold up, I'm American.
Yeah. That's funny.
So, yeah, those are the only place I'm trying to go to Madagascar and a couple other places here pretty soon, though.
You have a lot more questions, so summarize your answers a little faster. I didn't realize we got this many.
Okay.
We only have
All
like
right.
15 minutes left, so let me see
Okay.
here. I'll take this one really fast. Does Paraguay have the same income requirements as Mexico for residency? No, there are no income requirements for Paraguay at all. Would you consider Paraguay residency easier to get than Mexico residency? Easier in terms of income requirements, absolutely. Easier in terms of paperwork, it's similar. There's a lot of paperwork bullshit for Paraguay, but they don't care how much money you make. They don't care they don't care about that stuff. So, Josh, how's your Spanish, or does it matter if you're spending 6 months a year there?
Yo hablo español muy bien. It's good. It's good enough. That's what I'll say.
Fluent. You're not fluent, but you could get around, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Are there cheap coastal towns in Mexico? Josh kind of already answered that. Give me one or two quick names.
Puerto Morelos would be one, and then you're looking at some of the places in like Oaxaca, so Puerto Escondido, maybe La Paz, and Baja California Sur. Those are the first ones that come to mind.
Okay. Caleb, even though it's in the EU, how do you feel about Malta and the Citizen by Investment program? There are 10,000 other places that are better for that. Plus, that's a 7-figure investment program. For a tenth the price, you can get one in the Caribbean, which is almost as good. So I have, unless you're either wealthy, if you're wealthy, do whatever you want, and or you just really want that European Schengen passport for whatever reason. Other than that, no. Josh, what's your YouTube channel if you want to give it up?
The Nomad Consultant.
What's your perspective on Romania as a temporary residency flag, and have both you guys had good or bad experiences with Romanian women? You want to answer that? Have you been to Romania or not?
I've been, yeah.
Yeah, okay. You probably could better that answer than me.
I was only paying attention to the second half of the question. Extremely attractive. Not my favorite though. Once again, I listed some of my more favorites.
He's asking about, is it for a temporary residency flag, which I would not recommend.
No idea, but I heard him asking about the women. So
yeah, the women, of course, yes, women are good. Yes. Women are good. What exactly do you mean by Dubai's one way of dating, Josh? Are you talking about sugar daddy stuff?
Yeah, that's 100% what I meant. In Dubai, as far as I know, there's not going to be a whole lot of natural dating going on there.
There's
at least for the extremely attractive women.
There's some, but there are strings attached to it.
See, that's what I mean.
Yeah. What is your perspective on Brazil?
Brazil, Rio de Janeiro is cool. It's good. It depends.
Fun.
Some of the same issues I have with Colombia. You're gonna have, except for the like nice areas in Brazil, way safer than the nice area in Medellin. Probably not gonna get robbed in the nicest parts of Rio de Janeiro, where that's a risk in Medellin. Uh, it's good. I haven't spent a ton of time there, so I couldn't give you more than that. But I enjoy Rio de Janeiro. It's on the beach, which is a plus for me. I think there are better places though.
I'll take this one. What's so great about being in Hong Kong besides the 0% taxes? Hong Kong is, it's a certain type of country you may love or hate. It is my favorite, or at least for most of my life, my favorite country in the world. It's a combination of hardworking Chinese culture with British Western overtones. It was not anymore, but it was the most libertarian-ish country in the world for many, many decades. It went from a rock that no one gave a fuck about to the number one economy on planet Earth, and you feel that vibe there. It's a super exciting place. And also, if you like the Asian culture, which I do, it's the best combinations of East and West, in my opinion, but it's just my opinion. You may go there and hate it. And the food is fucking amazing. The people are amazing. It's just an amazing place. It's a magical place for me, but that's my opinion. Have you been to Hong Kong? You haven't been.
I have, but I haven't spent that much time there.
Okay.
Yeah.
What would you say is the best? This is probably for both of us. What would you say is the best and worst? What would you say is the worst and best country in Europe right now for women and cost of living? You really can't answer that because it's 50 fucking countries. So I don't think it's that cut and dried. You can answer that if you want, but that's my answer. Is it depends on many different factors of what you want, like Josh was talking about. You can't just say this is the best country in Europe, this is the worst country for dating. You can't. There's too many variables.
Yeah,
there's a list of 3 or 4 countries on both ends.
Yeah, there's a ton of places in Europe, like to begin with, and like
55 countries.
It's easier to say like Western Europe versus Eastern Europe.
Right. What region? Right.
Like it's just super open. But I'll say this: like for Western Europe, for cost of living and dating, I'd probably do Greece, Italy, and Spain.
I would agree for Western. Have you guys had any experience with Arabic countries when it comes to women? I'm thinking about Morocco.
Yeah.
Why are you laughing?
Because
I have an answer. You want an answer? You want an answer? Or you want me to answer? You answer.
I'm not gonna tell this story on YouTube, but I kind of dated a Moroccan girl, and it was just a really weird experience.
Yeah,
like she's like super Muslim, and she showed me her hair, and she like had like a existential crisis about it. It was an interesting experience.
Dating Muslim Arabic women in Muslim Arabic countries is an advanced level of game, and you got to be super fucking patient, and that doesn't describe very many men. So unless you are Muslim yourself and you're looking for a wife and you're willing to go through those kinds of hoops, which means in true Muslim cultures, like in Pakistan and places like that, they don't date because they don't have sex. You don't date. You just say, let's get married now, and you get married. It's not like what you think. Now, maybe you know that, maybe you don't, but it's a whole different world. If you're not willing to be super fucking patient and jump through a bunch of fucking hoops, then don't worry about it. Now, that doesn't mean you can't hook up in places like Morocco with non-Arabic or non-Muslim women. Yes. But
that's what I was about to say. They are super attractive in Morocco.
Oh, yeah.
Like, oh my, like stunners.
Yes.
That's another thing I should have said about Brazil. Brazil may be some of the most attractive women in the world. I'd probably take it over Colombia, to be honest. But
really? Do you think Moroccan women are the hottest women in the world, in your opinion?
I think Brazilian might be number one.
Okay.
I think Morocco's up there. The Venezuelans that I've met, what the hell is that?
Not me. That's
The
on your side.
Venezuelans that I've met have been pretty good.
Oh,
Guadalajara
Venezuelan, I
has,
agree. Venezuelan, yes. Oh my God.
and I say this on
Venezuelan
my
is terrible.
channel,
Yeah. What?
I say this in my channel, but only in Guadalajara do I think they have women that can compete with those places. Other regions of Mexico, not really. But in Guadalajara, I don't know
Agreed.
what's in the water here, but it's up there. But yeah, Moroccans, especially if you like my skin color, the women there are wild.
Cool. Wealthy expat is dating a Russian girl. Is he still? Is he still though? Oh, maybe he is now because that thing with his wife. Anyway, wealthy expat is dating a Russian girl. Are sure, Caleb, that we have to completely write off Russian women. If you want to be long-term happy, speaking in general, yes. If you don't mind drama and demands, and a lot of men don't care. On my other channel, Alpha Male 2.0, it's all about long-term happiness. There are lots of men in this world, lots, who don't mind, in quotes, occasional drama, occasional big occasional big arguments, occasional demands. Why you need to buy me this? If you don't mind that, do whatever you like and date anyone you want. If you want to be happy, I like to have women in my life, and all my women in life are like this. Nice girls, sweethearts, who are smiling and happy almost all the time. That's what I like. If you like more badass bitches and don't mind, I should say, don't mind that behavior, fine. The other thing is there are many countries, and including Western countries, that have women who are just as hot as Russian women without the Russian negatives, or at least much less of them. Even Ukrainians are just as hot as Russians with less negatives. So that's my answer. Hi, Josh. How's the safety and security this year in Guadalajara? And please post your YouTube channel in the chat. So if you want, you can post your YouTube link in the comments here, and I'll put it in the comments. You can do that if you want, unless you don't want to.
Okay. I'll have to go grab the link. But
yeah, take your time. How is the safety and security this year in Guadalajara? It's fine.
It's fine.
It's
always fine.
That's it.
All I say every single time someone asks me this, unless you're planning on going on like a cross-country road trip, you're gonna be fine. Or if you are like engaging in ridiculously stupid behavior that would somehow put you in contact with the cartel. That's the only reason. I've never had to talk to cops. I've never been stopped by cops. I've never had to bribe anybody.
I've done entire videos on this. I've never had a problem in Mexico my entire life. Josh is telling you right now, he's been in Mexico for years, for half or most of the year. He's never had a problem. This is all bullshit societal programming from American elites. Mexico's terrible. No, it's not. Unless you do something stupid or you go somewhere blatantly horrible and spend a lot, which you're not going to do. I've done entire videos on this. If you're worried about safety in Mexico, you're stupid. I'm sorry, you just are. I did a whole video on the Unchained CEO YouTube channel on safety in Mexico. Watch that video. I'll give you all the data and the statistics and the facts. Let's see here. What exactly is Josh's advertising business website? What's the industry? He's already answered all those questions. If you're not sure, you can watch the replay of this. Is it an Alpha 2.0 business? Yes, it is. It's location dependent. Yes, it is. Well, I don't know if Josh has employees. Josh, can you hear me auditorily or no?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Do you have any salaried employees or no?
Salaried? No.
No. So yes, he has an Alpha 2.0 business. He follows the models. Did you construct multiple streams of income? And if so, what types areas would you recommend and in what order? So can you answer that question quickly? We got to go soon. We got to go in a few minutes.
What was the question?
Do you construct multiple streams of income? And if so, what types / areas would you recommend and in what order? He kind of answered that earlier, but just summarize it. You kind of
so
already.
Yes, I have multiple streams of income. I would start with a cash flow business, which is what my advertising business is. And then once you have a cash flow business, like another cash flow business would be like coaching and consulting, right?
Right. Like I talked about in Business Builder, exactly right.
And
Something that
then
makes cash, high margin, and then later do the ebooks and the online courses and stuff like that. I just
yeah,
posted Josh's YouTube channel in the chat.
yeah. So
Cool.
and then do what it takes to grow that business, and then use your profits to grow other businesses, start other business, invest, save, do whatever you want with your money. I'm not a financial advisor.
What are the requirements for the Thai Elite Visa? 5
Oh,
figures.
fine.
A lot of money. That's
yeah.
it, right? Do you have to have net worth?
There's,
Do you have to show net worth? Or no for that?
I don't, it's changed since I've done
Oh,
it,
he's
so
not
I
sure.
don't know. But
Okay.
at the time I did it, no, you didn't have to show net worth because it's super fucking expensive. And so you're not going to spend whatever it was, 25 grand or whatever, unless you have that to spend. And you do
Right.
get some other bonuses as well. You get like concierge service and stuff like that. So they treat you really well. Like you get like hauled from the airport and stuff.
Really?
But it's like,
That's cool.
yeah, but it's
All right.
like
Is
more
it still
fluff.
10 years? It's still 10 years, right?
You get to pick the length of it. So I don't
Oh.
remember.
Oh, I didn't
That's
know
the
that.
other. That's the other thing. You can pick like 5 years, 10 years, or 15 years.
Oh, cool. Okay. I didn't know. All right, cool. Mexico just elected a Jewish Zionist into office. RIP Mexico. Thoughts? No. No, RIP Mexico. Mexico's rising. No.
First female
Stop
president in
reading
like
stupid
200
articles on the
years.
internet. What's that? Sorry.
It's a female president for the first time in like 200 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I knew that part. Yeah. Mexico is
But-
going to do very well. Mexico is a very complicated thing on terms of what they will do long term. It's their game to lose. But anyway, that's a long story. Talk about it later.
I mean, they have so many connections that
they're going to be
I
fine.
don't. Yeah.
Mexico's going to be fine. And they could even survive the collapse of the U.S. depending on what they do. Maybe I'll do a whole podcast on the future of certain countries like Mexico. It's very complicated. How is your business builder different from Caleb's? Well, it's a whole different thing.
It's way different. I focus on creating membership sites.
Mexico too expensive. That's not exactly what we said, and that's not exactly what Josh said. You're oversimplifying it. For both of you guys, if Mexico's economy is based off exporting to the U.S., how do you think Mexico will cope once the U.S. collapses? Okay, so that's it's a complicated answer. If Mexico's elites are smart, and I'm not sure if they are or not, they might be. They're going to take all this new money they're getting. They're doing like 18% growth rates right now, annual growth rates, where in the United States is 2% and Europe is negative. Mexico's kicking ass right now. But you're right. This party will come to an end when America collapses. They can survive that if they do several things, like if they put together lots of trade deals with Asia, if they start building infrastructure, if they start building like nuclear power plants, if they start improving, their cities. If they do certain things, they'll do fine. I don't know if they're going to do them or not. It's like 50-50. So that's my answer. You have an answer to that? It's quick.
Pretty much what you said. It just depends on the trade and infrastructure that they
Depends
build.
on what they do. Mexico needs to make some
independent
decisions in the next few years.
Yeah, they just need to do stuff that's independent of their trade with the United States, and I don't know how that's going to go.
Have you been to the Philippines, Josh? And did you like it if you went?
The Philippines is the one country that I went to for. Okay, so I went there for like an extended trip, and I left after like a week because I hated it. But
Manila?
I'm different than you.
Manila?
Yeah. Or I went to Manila and I went to BGC.
Okay. So Josh didn't like it.
Not a fan.
Most guys who go there that I talk to love it, but like Josh and I have talked about, everyone's different. Go check it out, see if you like it or not. If you don't, leave. You might be surprised. You may love it. You might fucking hate it. You got to find out. Josh, what's the worst thing about Guadalajara or Mexico in general? What's your biggest negative for Mexico, in your opinion?
The weather can be a little bit too hot. Is in like the desirable places, and the air quality in some places isn't great. It's pretty much it for me.
What's Caleb's trait, character, mindset, belief about life that you admire the most and you're willing to adopt for yourself? Everything I do. Just kidding.
What
wanna
do I
say that
admire
again?
most about you? Is that what they're asking?
What trait, character, mindset, or belief about life, my life, that you admire the most that you're willing to adopt for yourself? And no, I didn't ask that question. It's one of these guys asked that question.
Probably just your willingness to do whatever you think is best for you. Because a lot of, I wouldn't have been that way without you. Like, your beliefs about not letting society choose how you live your life.
Cool. Some comments here. Okay, 2 or 3 more questions. We got to wrap this up. We're over time here. Can you live in any country in the world comfortably on $85,000 a year? No, you can't live in Luxembourg. You probably can't live in Monaco. So these little tiny wealthy countries, no. Other than that, yeah. Other than those rare exceptions, like, what do you think? Other than that, yes.
I was gonna say not in Monaco. I was there. That place.
Monaco, no. But Monaco's a teeny tiny country that you wouldn't go to Monaco if you made 85K. So it kind of answers itself. You wouldn't. I mean, I could only think of like Monaco, Luxembourg. You could go to Singapore. You wouldn't live well, but you could make that work in Singapore. You could make it work in Dubai. I have a whole video on that. Yeah. There's a tiny handful of countries you wouldn't even consider if you made 85K. Other than that,
the thing is, what is living well to whoever asked that question?
Right. Like, exactly.
I couldn't live well on 85 grand a year in a lot of places. I probably couldn't even do it here in Guadalajara, to be honest.
I couldn't live that way anywhere. If I made $70,000 a month, I'd kill myself. But again, I've been making a lot more money for a long time. It's context again.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah. I go out to nice dinners, and that would run up a bill that would be my salary. So
yeah. Yeah, right. Right.
Yeah.
Mexican expat in the US. I'll leave my contact info in the comments after the live stream. I'll be your consultant for Mexico. Okay, thank you very much. What about the newly first female president? We're getting a question about this. Claudia Scheinbaum? I don't know how you say her name.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you have any opinions on the new female president or not?
No, I don't pay attention to politics unless it has to do with economic things. Or I shouldn't
answer.
I don't pay attention to news unless it has to do with economics.
Perfect.
I have
answer.
No clue what she believes in, what she's going to do. It's irrelevant for the time being.
I've said, how much have I said this? You guys, a strong percentage of you fuckers need to take a 30-day news diet and not touch any news for 30 days. You're way too steeped in this world, and it's fucking up your brain. Like, is Mexico safe? Yeah, great place to end this. Someone is saying, thank you, Josh and Kim. This is a thought-provoking discussion. So cool. I will have Josh back for either this channel or the other channel at some point. They liked you. And that's it. You want to say anything in parting before we wrap this up?
No, that's all. Take it easy, gentlemen.
Thank you, Josh. Thank you, guys. Have a good one. I'll see you guys on Wednesday. I'll be in the UK. Bye.